Hello everyone, Daniel Kerr here. I want to talk today about the Wim Hof method and some things that I've discovered using the Wim Hof method. First, I want to welcome you to 2023. Happy New Year. I pray that this is the best year that you and your loved ones, family, friends have ever experienced. Okay, so recently I had COVID, and about a year ago I had COVID, and both times being 48 years old now. And being in a high-risk group for COVID because I shoot insulin for type 1 diabetes, I had a hard go of it, and I'm a healthy person. Biohacking, supplements, these are things that I've worked on for 30 straight years, to increase my quality of life, right? To live longer. And still, COVID was a very, very tough pill to swallow for me, okay? This time it was a few weeks of just trying to push through it, I do take my nanoparticle product, Mu60, for long COVID, and it works quite well. But nonetheless, in the thick of the COVID, the Wim Hof breathing method has been very, very good for me, right? I've been doing Wim Hof breathing since 2016, and I first heard about it from Leon Duster, who is my partner in crime for working with the ESX. And back in those days, we had, about 10 years ago or so, we kind of met online, maybe a little longer, I'm not sure, but we kind of met online because I had a substantial ESX Korg ESX video content amount pool, and he was doing his own thing, and his stuff was a little different than mine, and we just kind of connected, and we've been friends ever since. Hey, Leon, how are you? And anyway, I love the dude, and he turned me on to Wim Hof method. I had never heard of Wim Hof before that, but the guy's incredible, fascinating, world records, does ice baths, swims under the ice, holds his breath, ran a marathon in the Arctic and, barefoot in shorts, climbed past the death zone of Mount Everest wearing shorts, ran a marathon in the Namib desert with no water, just crazy stuff, right? So his breathing method, it supposedly allows him, and he's been tested, this has been verified, but it allows him to control his autonomic nervous system, right? And he can control his immune system this way. And the Wim Hof method has been very, very good for me for a variety of things, right? But when I had COVID, I would do 3 or 4 rounds of the breathing, and it was the difference between being bedridden or being up and around and doing some things, okay? So it was really, really important. Now, the thing about Wim Hof method is that it mimics, and a lot of people have compared it to Tumo Yoga, right? Which is an occult method of raising your body temperature. And these Tumo, they go ahead and they use similar breathing technique, and then they live in the cold pretty much their entire lives. They sit out in the snow naked, and they wrap wet blankets around themselves, and they do the breathing method until the blankets are dry. You can see the steam coming off their bodies, right? What I do is not an occult science. In fact, I'm a Christian, as most people know, and I used to really, really be into the occult. So especially in the early years of Christianity, anything that had any type of breath work, any type of visualization, any type of mantras, these type of things, would make my alarm bells go off, and I'm like, no, that's not good for me. I don't want to open my door to external influences or spiritual influences, right? And rightfully so. I don't exactly adhere to that any longer. As my walk with Christ has commenced and matured, I realized that breathing techniques can be just breathing techniques, and that they're beneficial for me, for my mindset, for focus, and to keep my body healthy, right? What I've noticed is that in the breathing methods, when I am doing Wim Hof, I can feel the core body temperature heating up, right? So I start to sweat, these types of things, right? The breathing method, and I'm not going to show you how to do it. There's plenty of stuff online to instruct you on how to properly do the Wim Hof breathing method. But what it is it's short bursts. He takes 30 breaths, right? Deep breaths, diaphragmatic breaths, right? Where you're just, and you're breathing rather quickly, in, out, in, out, in, out, and you're hyperventilating yourself. And what that does is it causes your body to enter an alkalinic state. And a lot of people think that alkaline diets and these things are all hogwash and fringe science and this and that. I understand why people feel that way, but if you get on Wikipedia or you go to any type of a medical source, you'll find that hyperventilation does actually increase alkalinity in the blood and in the body. And if you continue to do it, you will enter a state of alkalosis, which is toxic alkalinity. All right. So the Wim Hof method is to hyperventilate to achieve alkalinity in a hyperoxygenated state. And you can feel it in your fingertips, in your head. You start to get really, really weird headed. Your feet and your legs and everything starts to feel distinctly tingly and maybe uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels pleasurable, actually. But once you achieve that, you hold your breath, and you hold your breath for a long, long time. You can, after doing this, what it does is hyperventilation causes your mind to turn off the part of the autonomous need to take breaths. I have held my breath. Okay, what I said, let me finish. Hyperventilation causes you to enter an alkalinic state, and then when you hold your breath, the acids rise until there's a balance, okay? And interesting, pH decreases. The thing about it is that I have been able to hold my breath using the Wim Hof method for 4.5 minutes without needing to take a breath. I think that's over the top. I don't think that that's necessary. I just was seeing how long I could go. I generally go now between 2 and 3 minutes at the longest. And there's many reasons why, not the least of which is that some people have experienced tinnitus from Wim Hof method breathing. And I think that it's from extensive breath holding and hypoxia in the ear, right? So that's why I just don't do that much. One thing that I've noticed about Wim Hof method is that it's extremely anxiolytic, which means it reduces anxiety. So if I'm feeling stressed, right, there's a lot going on, the kids are being crazy, maybe my wife and I are dealing with some things, maybe there's, it's budget time, maybe my work is going crazy, maybe PayPal has put a few holds on my funds again, right, which they do continually because of the nature of my products. And in the end, I'm just having myself a rough day. And I find that instead of lashing out at my family, if I just go off into my bedroom and I do 3 rounds of Wim Hof, then I'm like a Hindu cow, right? It's just calms me right down, okay? In fact, that leads me to the next point, which is interesting, is that when I was an occultist, in transcendental meditation or in Buddhist meditation, Zen, the idea was to meditate and use visualization to calm your brain completely down and to turn off the mind, right? And I never really understood what the value of that was except for discipline, right? Your mind, one thought leads to another. It's like the ripples of a pool. It's been likened in the classic literature to like dropping a pebble into a calm pool, and it causes the ripples, and those ripples cause other ripples. They bounce all over the place. It's been said that the most difficult thing that I've ever tried to do is to clear the mind, right? That's like a famous quote. And when it comes down to it, I've never been able to do that. It's very, very difficult to clear the mind. But one thing that I've noticed is that when I do Wim Hof breathing method and I get into the breath hold, my mind actually autonomously turns off. And I noticed that one day, like, wait a minute, I haven't been thinking. It's as if the process of thinking requires an amount of energy, and my brain and body prioritizes the amount of energy that I'm using because my breath is being held, and so it just turns everything off that's unnecessary, and thinking is one of those things that gets turned off. So that's one thing that's very, very interesting. Another thing, and I have another video about how to enter the flow state using joy, and about how joy is actually the gateway to the flow state. And the Bible says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And there have been times when I've been experiencing extreme joy, and I've been able to accomplish amazing things. And I've filed those times, those instances away in my internal filing cabinet, and I've actually been able to evoke them at times when I needed them, or invoke them rather, whenever, you know, I need to be on my A game. Maybe I'm in deliberation, or I'm in business meetings, you know, I'm negotiating, maybe I'm athletically wanting to push myself into some new areas, maybe in the skateboard park or snowboard slopes or something like that. And so I've revisited these moments of joy that allowed me to access the best me, right? One thing that I've noticed is that in the process of clearing the mind while I'm doing Wim Hof method breathing, I find that I can very easily just think of the, I don't know, it's just to rest in an amount of joy, right? And that it increases the amount of healing capacity that the breathing method actually is doing for me, right? The amount that it's capable of. And I get into just a joyous and grateful mindset that's just full of gratitude. I find myself smiling, you know, and I just let that wash through my body while I'm in the breath hold state of the Wim Hof breathing method, right? And it just really, really seems to help me out quite a bit. One thing you might notice is that you can take slower breaths in the beginning. You can feel that alkalinity going into the fingertips and into the legs, right? Round 2 and round 3, you might have to breathe a little faster, you know, really huffing and puffing to get that same amount of alkalinity, but you want to do that. And so, yeah, increasing the breath rate really, really does help. And then I find at the end, when I'm completely done, I'll just sit for 30 seconds or 2 minutes in a more traditional meditative state. And I'll use sometimes numbers or counting to regulate my breathing and to bring my heart rate variance back into a state of constancy where it's more consistent. I want my heart rate variation, the variability, to go down to where it's more steady. Heart rate variability is very, very important. Anyway, all the things that I'm talking about here, they've helped me out. I just wanted to share it with you guys. Again, 2023, I hope it's your best. I love you guys. I hope you're enjoying your winter. If you haven't gone out onto the ski slopes and done some snowboarding or some skiing, I encourage you to do that. If that's never been your thing, go give it a shot. No matter where you live, it's almost available to many people. Anyway, I love you guys, and I got more videos coming up soon on the Acai Force, so I'm going to be getting those together this week. Love you guys. Be blessed.